starting practicing of Raganuga Bhakti can lead to severe fall down. And it can also lead to the fall down of the guru is not qualified. So there are some gurus who may actually reveal some details about the identity of a particular disciple in the spiritual world, but it may not be true. So even your sentiment may not be true, because if it is not steady, if it is changing, then um, it is not probably your real identity. So it has to be steady for a long period of time. It has to become totally, completely stable. All right. So, so as I was sharing that in ISKCON, we are basically mixing the two. So because we know that is ISKCON has got devotees and members throughout the world, and we are coming from so many different backgrounds, such fallen backgrounds, Malechas, Yavanas, Sudras, right? So that's why in order to maintain certain level of purity and not to imitate advanced devotees, because that becomes hypocrisy. So in order to maintain that purity and in order to become steady in our practices, we in ISKCON we don't directly talk about Raganuga Bhakti. It's not possible, because there are devotees who are, there are all types of devotees. So there are the Kanishta Adhikaris, the Madhyamas, there is the Uttama. And of course, even a Uttama Adhikari also, when they are coming to this material world, they are preaching and they are making devotees throughout the world, then they will also not do this, they will also not follow externally, because that will create a wrong impression. That will create a wrong example also. So in order to set the proper example and the mood and the spirit of devotion, these things are not seen externally. Okay. And most of the devotees, they, if they are practicing Raganuga Bhakti, it is all internal. It is not show. So if someone starts showing off, that means something is going wrong somewhere. So it needs to be curbed down. Okay. So this we need to understand why ISKCON is not externally, like directly. For example, we have this Vallabhacharya Sampradaya, where they are the practitioners and followers of Raganuga Bhakti, Ragmarg. And that's why you'll see that their worship is quite different. It is not the way that we worship. So there are many Gujaratis, Marwadis, and Rajasthanis who are worshipping Bal Gopal in India and abroad also. So they have inclination towards Bal Gopal, and probably they are connected to Vallabh Sampradaya. So they worship directly, they start worshipping Krishna in a Raganuga type of sentiment. So it may be allowed for them, but of course we see that there are so many these type of devotees who are not even well versed in Bhagavad Gita. They don't even know who is God and who is Supreme Personality of Godhead, and then what is heaven, what is Vaikuntha, what is Golok Vrindavan. They are not even aware of these Sambandhyan, and still they are doing that worship. So of course, there has to be certain training. It has to be assisted with knowledge also. Otherwise, your devotion can become a mere sentiment. So Prabhupada also said that philosophy without sentiment can become fanaticism, and sentiment without philosophy can become uh, mental speculation, like that. So this has to be balanced properly. Yeah. So Prabhupada states that unless one is free from anartha nivritti, material contamination, one should not take it prematurely. And then Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Sir Thakur, that's why, seeing the influences of Kali Yuga, what he did, so there are two parts of Raganuga Bhakti, and we'll discuss that now. So one is the esoteric path and one is the exoteric path, which basically can mean internal, external. So it is not the same as that we discussed in the CC verses, but this is a part that is practiced externally as well as internally. Okay, now the esoteric path was given down by Swarup Damodar Goswami to Raghunath Das Goswami, and it was then compiled in the form of the book called as Manashiksha by Raghunath Das Goswami. Whereas the exoteric path was also passed down by Swarup Damodar Goswami. It was given to Vakreshwar Pandit, and from Vakreshwar Pandit it went to Gopal Guru Goswami, and then finally it came to Dhyan Chandra Goswami. So the exoteric path involves a lot of complicated procedures where you externally start worshipping the associates of Lord and you chant their mantras, and it requires a lot of time because you need to invest a lot of time to chant the mantras, to follow a particular procedure. So that is not possible in this day and age because most of the devotees that are joining Bhakti, they are all Grihastha devotees. And if you like to follow this kind of path, then it has to be mostly on a full-time basis. It is not so easy to externally commit to this path. So the best part which is recommended is that of Raghunath Das Goswami in the Manashiksha, which is basically the esoteric part, the internal part. And of course, internal part is very much similar to what we are talking about earlier, the internal external part according to the CC verses. So in internal part, basically your main focus is on absorption in remembering the Lord and self-purification, and humility, cultivation of humility, on all these things, principles are there in the internal path. So this is very important. And if we cultivate with the right mood and spirit and with the proper qualification, with the blessings and the permission of Guru, then everything is revealed to us with time. Okay. So esoteric part is basically driven by one's inclination and desires, and internal purification also. And exoteric path would demand one to go almost like full time without any obligations, or kind of, you just retire from family life and focus fully. So Siddha Pranali, Ekadash vows, consisting of series of mantras and meditations on various personalities. So this is a very difficult path, especially in Kali Yuga, and especially when the devotees, most of the devotees, they're practicing devotees. They are not perfected devotees. So if someone is close to the stage of asakti bhav, then for them it can be recommended, but otherwise almost impossible to follow in Kali Yuga. But now the thing is, what is happening is, in the name of this external or exoteric path, there are a lot of devotees who are misusing this path, and they are deviating from the principles of bhakti, and they are becoming sahajas. They are trying to imitate the gopis, because externally also they dress themselves like Brajvasis, and they try to act like that, which is of course not recommended by Srila Rupa Goswami also. So this path is not recommended, and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he has given us a very simple and standardized formula for the age of Kali, which is Harinam Sankirtan. And he says that Harinam Sankirtan is something that is going to reveal everything to us. So there is no extra endeavor required from our end. And of course, then Srila Prabhupada, what path Prabhupada has recommended for us, that we'll see now. And it is also mentioned that especially Srila Prabhupada has given us the path of Ghoshtanandi, that we are supposed to preach Krishna consciousness to others. And by that, we attain the special favor and mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, we attain everything. So there is also one verse in Chaitanya Chandritamritam, and it mentions, Prabhupada Saraswati has written this text, and he says that to the degree we develop attachment to the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to the degree we serve his lotus feet, to that degree, the love and attachment for Srimati Radharani will automatically overflow in the heart. So he says that you cannot say that I love Chaitanya Mahaprabhu 50% and I love Radharani 100%. It is not possible. He says that to the degree you love Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to the degree you want to serve, you are attached to him, to the same degree your love for Radharani will also automatically be manifested. So this is a very important verse, and it shows that how just by serving Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates and his mission, one can actually automatically come to that stage also. So now, what is exactly Ragmarg? Ragmarg, as we said, that as we have shared, that it is a specific technical uh, principle, which basically means having deep thirst attachment for Krishna's pastime in Vrindavan and one of his associates, right? But one way to understand Ragmarg is also that. Now, main what is the main principle of being attached to a devotee in Vrindavan or associates of Krishna in Vrindavan? What is the main principle? What is the main mood? The main mood and the principle is that once you love Krishna, and especially the Vrajvasis, what is the speciality of the Vrajvasis as compared to that of Mathura and Dwarka Vasis? So it is stated by our acharyas that, especially in context with the gopis, that the gopis do not even have a tinge of material desire or a tinge of selfishness in their heart when they serve Krishna. Whereas when we talk about the Mathura Vasis and the Dwarka Mahishis, there is some tinge of desire for their own sense gratification, some very small desire. And of course, we have the stages of bhakti also. Whereas for the gopis, we see that they advance to the stages of Mahabhav. So prema, once we attain Shraddha to prema, and after prema there are further refined stages, which is as follows: prema, sneha, man, pranaya, rag, anurag, bhav, mahabhav. And then mahabhav also has further division, which is called as Ruddha Mahabhav, Adi Ruddha Mahabhav. And then Adi Ruddha Mahabhav has got further divisions as Badanakya Mahabhav, Modanakya Mahabhav. So the gopis, they advance all the way up to Mahabhav, whereas the Mahishis, they can only advance up to a certain stage. They cannot go beyond that. Okay. So here we can clearly see the difference. Now, why the difference is there? Because they are completely sold out to Krishna's pleasure, Krishna's happiness. And in this context, there is also the pastime of one time how Narad Muni, he went to Dwarka. So Krishna had a fever, and Narad Muni wanted to actually check who are the best devotees of Krishna, are the gopis the best or the Mahishis the best. So he went to Krishna and then he asked him, and then Krishna told him that, okay, so I have got a fever now, and the cure of the fever is that whoever gives the dust of their lotus feet, and if I smear it on my entire body, then that will cure my fever immediately. So you go and see who is going to give you the dust. So then Narad Muni goes, and first he goes to the Dwarka Mahishis. So when they come to know that Krishna has a fever, they get very anxious, and they want to cure Krishna's fever, anyhow. But Narad Muni puts a condition that you'll have to give the dust of your feet. And immediately when they hear, then they get very depressed, because they think that how can we give our dust to our master? Because in Mathura and Dwarka, there's a feeling of the Lord being as the master. So there is Aishwarya Bhav in Mathura and Dwarka. So they do not give, and they fear that, oh, if we give our dust, then we'll have to go to hell. So how can we give our dust to our master? So then Narad Muni goes to the Vraj Gopis, and then he conveys the same thing. And then the gopis, immediately when they hear that Krishna has a fever, they start smearing they collecting the dust of their feet, and they collect an entire bag of the dust, and they give it to Narad Muni. And he says that, well, are you not afraid that if you give your dust, then you'll have to go to hell? Then the gopis, they reply, they say that, well, even if for a moment, if we are eternally sent to hell, then also we don't bother, because our concern is only movement, even a moment's pleasure. If we can give a moment of pleasure to Krishna, that is our, and like eternal desire. So we are willing to sacrifice our life eternally, and we are going to, we can go to hell forever. So there is no, question of any pain in hell. We'll be always happy. So now Narad Muni understood who is the greatest devotee. The Vraja Gopis are the greatest devotees. So one thing we need to understand: the entire existence of the Vrajvasis is to somehow give pleasure to Krishna for a moment also. And for that moment of pleasure to Krishna, they are willing to sacrifice their entire lives for eternity. Okay, so this we need to understand. This is the real sentiment of Raganuga, Ragatmika devotees. So now we have to take the spirit of this. So when we talk about Ragmarg, we can also understand one thing very clearly, that Ragmarg is one-pointed attention, a soul, as Srila Prabhupada also quotes in Bhagavad Gita, Vishwanath Thakur, and he says that that for a disciple, the instruction of Guru becomes a life and soul. Okay, so that is the secret of success in spiritual life. And Prabhupada quotes Vishwanath Thakur in Bhagavad Gita Purport, and he says that this is the principle of. So basically, we can understand that Ragmarg is actually one-pointed focus attention to fulfilling the instruction of the spiritual master, to please the spiritual master. Because we do not have direct access to Krishna currently. We cannot see him. We cannot be involved in the pastimes now. And that's why the representative of Krishna, because we don't know the desire of Krishna. So that desire is represented by the spiritual master. So when we please the spiritual master, then that makes us truly being on the path of Raganuga Bhakti, Ragmarg. Okay, so this is what is actually Raganuga Bhakti. Also, you can think like that. So the main consideration of Brajvasi is Krishna's pleasure, and not even a least of their own. So when that is directed to the Guru, then it becomes the same. Okay. So one time in one class, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, he was saying that how the Brajvasis, they have assumed forms and they have come in the form of sadhakas in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. So in order to teach us what exactly it means to be a follower of the residents of Vrindavan. So all these, our Goswamis, our Acharyas, they are so committed and dedicated to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and their own Gurujan that they are teaching us how to actually follow in the footsteps of Vrindavan. So when we emulate these Acharyas, then we can say that we are actually following the footsteps of Brajvasis. Yeah. Okay. So now I would like to share something very interesting, which Srila Narottam Das Thakur has shared, and this is a record that we have. This is regarding book distribution. Right. Okay. So this is a manuscript which is discovered at Radha Damodar temple, and this was, I think, discovered in September 2004. So a new document has been discovered in the Radha Damodar Manuscript Library, announced the library curator R.D. Gupta, written on palm leaves. It contains a letter from Narottam Das Thakur to Srila Jeev Goswami, containing the annual book distribution totals for the year ending with Gaur Purnim of Shaka 1501, AD 1579. So basically, Narottam Das Thakur has, see, if you all remember, or if you all are aware that Narottam Das Thakur was the Siksha disciple of Jeev Goswami. Similarly, Shyamanand Prabhu as well as Srinivas Acharya. They were all Siksha disciples. And Jeev Goswami had assigned them to distribute the books of our Acharyas. So the first book distribution, you can say that it started with the party of Srila Narottam Das Thakur, Srinivas Acharya and Shyamanand Prabhu. Now, Narottam Das Thakur is writing, after sending the scores of his book distribution efforts, he is writing a letter to Jeev Goswami and he is explaining to him, or he is just sharing with him what were the scores. Okay. So so how many Srinivas Acharya distributed, how many Narottam Das Thakur distributed, how many Shyamanand Prabhu distributed. We won't go to the details of that because there are different quantities of different shastras that they distributed. But Narottam concludes this letter with the following comment. So he says, now see, so it is so interesting. Narottam laments the poor stores and said that until someone comes along and invents the printing press, it looks like it will be impossible to develop prema. He prays to take birth in that distant future so that he too can distribute books in the streets and marketplaces and get Mahaprabhu's mercy. For what use is chanting or worshipping or discussing Harikatha when the book distribution scores are so low? So such a great revelation and insight in the bhav of Narottam Das Thakur. And Narottam Das Thakur, as you are aware, he is a great Vaishnava Acharya in our Sampradaya. We are actually connected to his lineage also. Right? So Narottam Das Thakur, very prominent Acharya in Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. His contribution is phenomenal. And he is saying that, oh, when we are not able to distribute books, why are we even talking about chanting and hearing and Harikatha? How can we attain prema? It's not possible to attain prema. And then he's praying that I would like to attain future birth so that I can, whenever the press can be, it can arrive in future, then let me take birth so I can distribute so many books. So see, this is what Srila Prabhupada did. One of the main purpose of Srila Prabhupada was to preach Krishna consciousness by distributing books, and that's how he actually manifested the printing press. So through that, the books are distributed throughout the world. Who knows? We may have Narottam Das Thakur amongst us currently, or maybe in the past he was there during Prabhupada's time, or maybe in the future he's going to come. So that's why there are some devotees who are very exalted in their bhakti, but they don't show. We cannot understand like that. So this is the bhav of Narottam Das Thakur, and we should also think in those lines. Okay. And now I will also reveal to you what Srila Prabhupada also, the way he has taught us and the way he wanted us um, to actually think about Raganuga Bhakti, the way we have to um, think about this. Okay. So there are certain things that I would like to share. And now you will understand very clearly what Srila Prabhupada desired and what we are supposed to do. Okay, all right. So there is one article I would like to share from Prabhupada Remembrances, which is given by Siddhanta Prabhu. So Revati Nandan Prabhu, who is one of Prabhupada's disciple, he's sharing this, and he's saying that in the mid 70s, Nitai Das, a devotee Sanskrit scholar, started hearing from a Brajvasi Goswami and left ISKCON as a result. Nitai claimed that Srila Prabhupada had not given us all the information that we needed. He criticized Prabhupada for not telling his disciples about their eternal rest with Krishna. So in Berkeley in 1976, I asked Prabhupada, are there any matters concerning the nature of our devotional service and our relationship with Krishna that you have not explained to us? In the future, will it be necessary for us to find someone else for more instructions? Or if we follow your prescription for sadhana, sankirtan, preaching and chanting, will our hearts be purified so that Krishna will reveal subsequent things to us from within? When I said the later part, Prabhupada smiled and said, yes, that is the way. You will not have to go anywhere else. If you simply follow my instructions, everything will be revealed to you from within. He had a pleased look. It was clear to me that there was no need for information about our ras because everything is revealed to a pure-hearted devotee. Okay, so let me share with you a couple of references from Srila Prabhupada's Leela. So things will be very much clear to all of us. Okay. Regarding the examination, you are already a past student. This is Prabhupada's letter to Hansadut, 12th January 1969, Los Angeles. So you are already a past students. So don't be afraid of it. When the examination will be held, you will find the questions so easy that within a few minutes shall be able to answer them all. I wish to introduce this examination system so that in the future our students may not remain unconcerned with these books that we are publishing. These books are not material knowledge. To a sincere student, all of the contents of these books become revealed from within, even if he has not thoroughly studied them all. Okay, so now another reference. The following week, okay, let me give the reference first. So this is from the book by His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj, which is called as Ocean of Mercy. So the following week, Kalyan Das, a second initiated Bengali devotee who lived outside the temple and worked as an insurance agent and school teacher, came to Mayapur to see Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada asked him about his spiritual life and also inquired about his wife and children. It was a sweet, warm exchange. Then Kalyan asked, Srila Prabhupada, what is my Siddh Swarup? What he wanted to know was his spiritual identity. So can you imagine some disciple asking Prabhupada directly about his Siddh Swarup? So see what was Prabhupada's reaction. This idea to learn one's spiritual identity at the time of initiation was a sahajiya or deviant practice, and Srila Prabhupada's mood changed immediately. He became extremely angry, and with his voice roaring and his lips quivering, he repeated, you rascal, your Siddh Swarup is that you are a rascal. Finally, when he had cooled down, but with his voice still raised, he told Kalyan, don't worry about your Siddh Swarup. When you become qualified, I will personally come and reveal it to you. I was surprised by Srila Prabhupada's vehement reply, but I could also see two things very clearly. The first thing was that as devotees, we did not have to worry about our spiritual identity. We simply had to be engaged in devotional service. The rest would happen automatically, and our spiritual identity would be revealed by the mercy of Guru and Krishna. The second was that Prabhupada would always be there for us. He would take us back to Godhead. It was just a matter of our becoming qualified. So Kalyan was very apologetic and begged Srila Prabhupada's forgiveness. After a moment, Prabhupada regained his natural serene and merciful mood and explained to Kalyan that when both the Guru and disciple were qualified, the Guru might reveal the disciple's spiritual identity. If, however, either tried to proceed improperly, it could not only create chaos but also destroy the spiritual life of both. So, this is given in Bhakti Charu Maharaj's Ocean of Mercy. One time, Yamuna Mataji also asked Srila Prabhupada about following the footsteps of the residents of Vrindavan. And Prabhupada said that I am that Brajvasi, you follow me. Then Srila Prabhupada also wrote to one disciple who asked him about where followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu go. And Srila Prabhupada said that they go to Goloka generally. Okay. Now another letter which is in context with the premature execution of all these process. So this is letter to Nitai, Los Angeles, 7th of June 1976, Vrindavan. My dear Nitai Das, please accept my blessings. I have received information that some of our devotees are mixing with the Babajis in Vrindavan. This has produced so many problems amongst our men and women who visit Vrindavan. Here in Los Angeles, we have found that there is a group of about 40 devotees who privately meet to discuss the intimate pastimes, artificially thinking that they can enter into understanding of the gopis prematurely. This will create havoc in our society, and the result will be that if this is allowed to go on, our preaching work will greatly hampered. This premature desire to understand the Leela of Krishna is due to mundane sex life, desire as we have seen amongst many of the Babajis and Sahajiyas in Vrindavan. Our Jagannath Das came back from Vrindavan asking me that he had heard some Babaji speaking about Siddhadeya, and he also was listening to these Babajis. So I want this immediately stopped. If it continues this mixing with the Babajis, then it will mean spoiling. In many cases, these Babajis keep 2 or 3 women. Asat Sangha Tyagi, their association is to be avoided and prohibited amongst all of our devotees who visit Vrindavan. Okay. Another reference. So this time Hansadut Prabhu, he shares that once I asked Srila Prabhupada, is it possible that a devotee's relationship with Krishna is preaching and that devotee remains in the material world to preach? He doesn't go back to Godhead. Before I could finish, Srila Prabhupada said, yes, the Acharyas never go back to Godhead. They remain in the material world, traveling from one planet to another planet, preaching Krishna consciousness. I said, since the Acharya is a pure devotee, then isn't he simultaneously in the spiritual world while he's preaching and in the material world? So it doesn't make any difference that apparently he's in the material world. Prabhupada said, yes, something like that. Now, Srila Prabhupada in his Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, 16th chapter, verse number 281. So in the purport, I will give you just the essential statements of Prabhupada, which are related to the context. So it is mentioned, Prabhupada says, the eternal Vrajvasis like Swarup Damodar did not even come to Vrindavan Dham. Shri Pundarik Vidyanidhi, Haridas Thakur, Shivas Pandit, Shivananda Sen, Ramandar Rai, Shikhi Mahiti, Madhavi Devi, and Gadadhar Pandit never visited Vrindavan Dham. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur points out that we have no authorized documents stating that these exalted personalities visited Vrindavan. Okay, so now another reference from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur's letter on 17th of November 1930, which is given in Patravali 2.89 to 90. So in summary, I will share 1-2 lines that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said, as a sadhaka progress towards Siddhi, all these things are naturally revealed within the Sevan Mukha heart. Okay. In Srila Prabhupada Leela 5th volume, it is mentioned, better we spend our whole life and die just to make one person Krishna conscious. That is our line. To become so absorbed in preaching Krishna consciousness, whether in Vrindavan or anywhere. This is what Prabhupada says. Yeah, okay. some more references I would like to share. So in the Bhakti Sandarbh, Srila Jiva Goswami, he gives very special examples of the results of Bhakti Abhas. Now, these are the examples of devotees who have not even practiced, like who have not even started practicing Shuddha Bhakti. They have just practiced Bhakti by chance, by some kind of ignorance or just like that. So they don't even knew that this is Bhakti. So now, what does Jiva Goswami talk about these devotees? So he says that even by Bhakti Abhas, one can destroy all sins and attain the feet of Vishnu. In Narad Puran, it is related that two drunkards, imitating cuckoo birds, took pieces of cloth as wings and danced in the Lord's temple. As a result of acting as flagpoles in the temple, they attained spiritual bodies. A bird caught by a hunter escaping from a dog's mouth flew around the Lord's temple. As a result, the bird attained a spiritual body. So you can just imagine these personalities, they just did some kind of agyat bhakti, with no knowledge of bhakti, and they attain spiritual bodies. So do you think that devotees who are practicing seriously the path of bhakti, they will not attain the desired goal? It is not possible. Now, another example I would like to also share with from the Srimad Bhagavatam in the example of Dhruv Maharaj. Now, this is fourth canto and ninth chapter, and I will just read the text number 4 and 5. Okay, so you will also understand very clearly how Dhruv Maharaj actually attained perfection. So the text 4, it reads like this. Although Dhruv Maharaj was a small boy, he wanted to offer prayers to the Supreme Personality of God in suitable language. But because he was inexperienced, he could not adjust himself immediately. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, being situated in everyone's heart, could understand Dhruv Maharaj's awkward position. Out of his causeless mercy, he touched his conch shell to the forehead of Dhruv Maharaj, who stood before him with folded hands. Verse number 5. At that time, Dhruv Maharaj became perfectly aware of the Vedic conclusion and understood the absolute truth and his relationship with all living entities. In accordance with the line of devotional service to the Supreme Lord, whose fame is widespread, Dhruva, who in the future would receive a planet which would never be annihilated, even during the time of dissolution, offered his deliberate and conclusive prayers. So just see the effect of Lord Vishnu touching the head of Dhruv Maharaj with his conch shell. So what is the meaning of this? The meaning is very clear, that if we please our Gurujan, our Acharya Srila Prabhupada, they will take care of everything. Everything will be revealed to us at the appropriate right time. And I would also like to, in this context, I would like to share one more thing. So one time we had invited His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj for a session, and there were many devotees who had joined, around 300, 400 devotees. And I asked to Maharaj personally this question, especially in this context of Raganuga Bhakti, that Maharaj, how is it going to work out for our ISKCON devotees? Like, how exactly it works out. And Giriraj Maharaj, of course, he gave some answer, but then to conclude, Maharaj said that we just need to serve our Gurujan and our superiors, they will take care of everything. As Srila Prabhupada also very rightly stated in the book Ocean of Mercy, which is shared by Bhakti Charu Maharaj. So same thing. Janivas Prabhu also, he quoted the same example. So I had written personally to Janivas Prabhu long time back about our, how this will be manifested for ISKCON devotees. And he also said the same thing. He quoted Bhakti Charu Maharaj asking Prabhupada about Siddhadeya, and Prabhupada said that when the time will come, I will automatically reveal everything to you. So this is the thing, that everything is going to be revealed to us by Harinam and Guru's mercy. So we need to follow and we need to please our Gurujan. That's the first and foremost principle. So now in Vishwajit Thakur's Rag Vartama Chandrika, it also has a description of Raganuga sadhana. Now, one thing you'll also see that Srila Prabhupada has, as far as my knowledge goes, as far as I understand, as far as I've heard from our senior devotees, and as far as I've read Prabhupada books, I have never seen any reference where Prabhupada says that this Raganuga Bhakti has to be practiced separately. Like besides only preaching, that you need to also follow this separately as a separate path. Never ever I have come across any reference where Prabhupada said. In fact, all the references that I have gone through, Prabhupada said that you just follow what I have given and everything is going to be revealed to you at the right time. There's no need to follow separately anything. As Revati Nandan Prabhu also, Prabhupada disciple, he's also sharing that when he asked Prabhupada, Prabhupada said that there is no need to go anywhere else. You just follow the standard that I've given and everything is going to be revealed to us. So it's a matter of revelation. Okay. But now see our acharyas, of course, they have given details about Raganuga Bhakti, how we are supposed to follow that. But Prabhupada has not gone like that. He has not given us like that. He has given a standard method, and then he has said that okay, everything is going to be revealed when you just follow the standard method. Vishwanath Thakur in the Ragvartama Chandrika, he says that as Rag, attachment to Krishna, is the occupation of the mind, so also simultaneously must be Smaranam. Therefore, Smaranam is the main limb of sadhana for the practitioner of Raganuga Bhakti. The idea here is that there can be no Raganuga Bhakti without remembering Krishna. Therefore, in essence, Raganuga Bhakti means cultivation of remembrance of Krishna. So this is a very beautiful explanation by Srila Vishwanath Thakur, how practically a devotee can also cultivate, if they are qualified and they have the greed and they have the permission and blessing of Guru, then what exactly is Raganuga Bhakti is basically it's a functioning of the mind. Who has stopped you to remember Krishna 24 hours a day? No one can stop you. You can always remember Krishna. You can serve Krishna in the mind. Of course, you require certain qualification. Like you can remember Krishna in general as such. Okay. But if you want to remember Krishna in Vrindavan, following a particular associate of Krishna in Vrindavan, then you require certain revelations and qualifications and blessings and all. Okay. That has to be revealed to you. But otherwise, you can remember Krishna throughout the day, constantly. His pastimes that are given in the Srimad Bhagavatam, his killing of demons in Vrindavan. These are all like general things that you can always remember. Okay. So Vishwanath Thakur says that this is the way we can actually cultivate Raganuga Bhakti also. In Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, third, starts with eastern wave, it goes to southern wave, and then it goes to western wave. So in the western wave, the third wave, and in the second chapter, verse number 62, Rupa Goswami also gives the example of Daruka, fanning Krishna and experiencing ecstasy, which is interfering with his service, so he curbs it down. So Daruka, while fanning Krishna, because he's eternal associate of the Lord, and he's in Dasya Bhav, when he's fanning Krishna, he's getting ecstatic symptoms. But those symptoms, like tears coming from his eyes and hair standing on end, that is disturbing his mind, and he's distracted. He's getting distracted, and that is actually disturbing his service. So what he does is he curbs down his ecstasy and he focuses on the physical aspect of his service, which is fanning the Lord. So this is a typical example, and Srila Prabhupada also mentions in Nectar of Devotion. And from this also we can understand that pleasing Krishna is the most important thing, not pleasing ourselves, not experiencing ecstasy and bliss. That will, of course, the natural outcome of serving Krishna is that we will be happy and will feel ecstatic. But if that ecstasy and happiness comes on the way in our service to the Lord, then that has to be also checked. Okay. So the most important element of Raganuga Bhakti is we need to understand is pleasing Krishna. It should make him happy. That should be the first and foremost desire. So now, see, while taking challenging responsibilities in ISKCON, it may be possible that we not be able to meditate, because when we take responsibilities, there will be a lot of challenges, there will be a lot of anxieties. Will our relationship with the devotees will also matter? That will also disturb our mind. So when we are taking some important responsibilities like being a temple president, temple leader, or commander, or GBC or whatever it is, some responsibility you are taking, which is official and you are answerable, then it can disturb your meditation. It can disturb your remembrance also. So in that case, we have to follow our Gurujan. If our gurus, they want us to continue that service, we have to continue that service. So in that context, if we please our Gurujan, then they will only make an arrangement that at the appropriate time, all these things will be revealed to us. Yeah, if we do not have that responsibility, then we may invest some time in meditation also, in remembering the Lord. As our revelation will advance further, then we can do that. But if we are given the responsibility, then we have to take the responsibility and we have to do justice with that. So in that case, we may not be able to remember the Lord also. It may be disturbing service also. But of course, it has to be done in accordance with the instructions of the spiritual master. So it is not that you take up something just in order to get name and fame, because one may also develop the feeling that, okay, if I become a temple president, if I become a temple commander, or like a vice president or whatever it is, then I will get so much name and fame. Or if I become a guru, then I will get so many followers. So if that is the motive, then of course that's a wrong motive. Right? So all these references are there which can make us understand that Prabhupada's movement is complete and we don't even have to do anything else. We just have to follow. Yeah. So now see where Prabhupada has encouraged us to cultivate our relationship with the Lord. So this is given in Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila, 4th chapter, verse number 34. And I will just share one line from that purport. And Prabhupada is saying that devotees who are inclined to read pastimes connected to a particular ras, they are in that ras with the Lord. So Prabhupada is giving some kind of hint and indication. So see, Prabhupada has given everything. It's just a matter of where it is located, because Prabhupada has given, his books are there, his personal pastimes are there. There's glorification of Prabhupada's, because Prabhupada practically also acted, many times he acted very differently from what he has theoretically given in the books. So we need to take the holistic information of Prabhupada's pastimes, his teachings, and then we'll all realize that Prabhupada actually has given us all these things in his books. So in the Adi Lila, Prabhupada has said that, and Prabhupada says that special natural appreciation of the descriptions of a particular pastime of Godhead indicates the constitutional position of a living entity. So this Prabhupada says in the Adi Lila 4.34. Now Shivram Maharaj, his name is Shivram Swami Maharaj, he says that members of ISKCON except Prabhupada is also eternal resident of Vrindavan. And his example is even more relevant to us. To be a member of ISKCON means to be absorbed in Prabhupada's personal qualities, compassion, preaching spirit, unparalleled achievements, and literary masterpieces. Srila Prabhupada's disciples have written many books to help devotees absorb their minds into Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada himself left an ocean of instructions in his writings, lectures, conversations, and correspondence. So his followers may hear these instructions to remain fully connected to him, and in order to cultivate their desire to follow in his footsteps. In this way, ISKCON members can practice remembering one of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's confidential associates. So this is very important. When we are discussing about the external way to perform Bhakti, Raganuga Bhakti, and the internal way. So one of the external ways to follow Prabhupada's example, which means that we can also be absorbed in Prabhupada's pastimes, his instruction, teachings. Okay. And this is very important for us because Prabhupada is our prominent Acharya. He is the foremost Acharya. Because of Srila Prabhupada, we are introduced to so many of our Acharyas in the Parampara, the predecessor Acharyas, right? So our obligation to Srila Prabhupada is first and foremost, and we are meant to remember Srila Prabhupada. If we remember Prabhupada, we hear about Prabhupada's pastimes, then our predecessor Acharyas will be so much pleased with us, and they will also help us to get the right kind of revelation at the right time. Okay. So this is also very, very important. So by the grace of Guru and advanced Vaishnavas, everything is revealed, and um, anything else from outside is not required to us. Okay. So, so externally we can strictly follow the rules and regulations, but we can just change the mood, the bhav, and the perspective with which we are performing it. So, for example, when you are doing DT worship, Aarti, then it is actually Panchratrik Vidhi. So it is with awe and reverence. Externally, we may show like that, but internally, we may connect it to a particular pastime of Krishna. For example, in one of the works of the Acharya, it is given that how does Radharani perform Aarti of Krishna? She wakes up in the morning when Krishna is performing, he has already performed his Raslila, and then they are in Sevakunj and Nidhivan, they are resting there, and it's time to wake up in the morning. So Radharani wakes up in the morning along with Krishna, and how Radharani performs Aarti? Just by moving her face, rotating her face, and by opening her mouth, because it is said, the Acharyas say that Radharani's teeth, they are so beautiful and they are so effulgent that the sparkling of the teeth falls directly on Krishna's face, and that sparkling creates an effulgence. It seems that it is directly the arti, the lamp that is actually offered to the Lord. So when Radharani rotates her head or she is moving her head, the effulgence coming, the sparkling effulgence coming from her teeth falls on Krishna's face, and it is similar to that which is compared to the Aarti of the Lord, because she is moving. So that time the effulgence is moving on the face of Krishna. So it seems that she is performing Aarti of the Lord. So this has to be the internal bhav. Okay, for that we need to hear about Krishna's pastimes, and those pastimes are given in Krishna book and in Srimad Bhagavatam also. And then later on, of course, when we advance also, then we also start appreciating the pastimes that are shared by the acharyas. Srila Prabhupada encourages us to read the books of the acharyas so that we can have access to all these pastimes according to qualification. So this is the change in consciousness, the change in perception that we can have while doing Aarti or while doing any other practice of Vaidhi Bhakti. Okay, like for example, Krishna is giving instruction to Arjuna. So His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, he in a class he was sharing why the temple, the deities in Delhi, they are called as Radha Parthasarthi. Why not Radha Gopinath or Radha Govind, like that? Why it is Parthasarthi? Now it seems that there is a mixture of Aishwarya Bhav, because Parthasarthi is basically in Kurukshetra and Radharani is not in Kurukshetra. But Prabhupada, so this question was asked to Prabhupada said that, do you think that Krishna does not remember Radharani in Kurukshetra? He is actually remembering Radharani only in Kurukshetra. And there are verses in the Bhagavad Gita, our acharyas, they have given the insights, the layers of meaning in those verses. And he's saying that this is the verse where Krishna is actually remembering the gopis and Radharani. And there are several other verses like that where we can actually get the internal meanings of these verses. Okay, so Srila Prabhupada knew all these things, and that's how he connected everything to remembering the residents of Vrindavan. Okay, yeah, now something very encouraging, extremely encouraging. So this is given in Chaitanya Chandrodaya Nataka, which is written by Srila Kavi Karnapur, and the verse number is 10.280 to 281. So I will just read the verse translation. Those of you whose hearts are bound to me in this form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even if your rasas are friendship or servitude to Radha Madhav or Lord Dwarkadish, or if your rasas are friendship of or servitude to any other of my incarnations, I will make you into my eternally liberated associates in Golok Vrindavan. So what is the meaning of this? So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is telling to Advaita Acharya and all the devotees assembled that you just have faith in my form, worshiping me in Vrindavan form, if you just have faith, if you accept it, then even if you have any other rasa with the Lord, with Krishna in Vrindavan, or with Krishna in Mathura and Dwarka, or with any other Vaikuntha form of the Lord, if you just accept what I'm giving, then I will give you eternal forms in Golok Vrindavan, which means 200 forms following the footsteps of the Vrajvasis in Vraj, in the spiritual world. So this is the compassion of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and this is what he wants to give us. We just have to have faith, we accept it, and he will give us. So what is the meaning of this? Does it mean that your sthai bhav or your rasa changes? For example, Hanumanji is in Dasya bhav, and we know that Hanumanji came as Murari Gupta, and when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him to uh, worship Krishna, he was not able to worship Krishna, but he appreciated his bhav. He said that you are a real devotee of Lord Ram, and I appreciate that very much. But here, Mahaprabhu, what he's going to do is, if you accept worship of Krishna in Vrindavan, Mahaprabhu is willing to give you another form. That one form is already there, eternally existing, because Sai Bhava is always there. It is eternal. But then you will also get another form, which means that you have another spiritual form, or you can expand yourself in 2 forms, 3 forms, 4 forms, like that. So this is very encouraging. And another statement is also encouraging from the Srimad, the Brihad Bhagavatamrit, Sanatana Goswami mentions, and this is 2.5.52 to 55 and 2.6.2022 to 206, wherein it is mentioned that one may attain multiple forms in Braj as well as other places. In this way, one can attain other identities while retaining their original ones. Okay, so what does this mean? That so this is in context with the Vrajvasis who are there in Golok Vrindavan, but then who have expanded themselves in Mathura, Dwarka, Ayodhya, and then Vaikunthas. So what are the examples? Example is that of Radharani Chandravali. They come as Satyabhama and Rukmini in Mathura and Dwarka, and then in Vaikunt, in Ayodhya, they are coming as the associates, the consorts of Lord Ram, and in Vaikuntha they come as associates of Lord Vishnu, meaning Lakshmi. So they are all like, for example, there is Sridama Sakha in Vraj. He expands himself in the form of Garuda in Vaikuntha. Okay, so a devotee, if he has a desire to extend, to have rasa with not just Krishna, but either other forms of the Lord, one can also expand one's body and one can taste that ras. Although our acharyas also say that there are, of course, devotees also have exclusive devotion for the Lord in his Vrindavan form. So they have only forms in Vrindavan, like that. But depending on devotee's desire, the Lord fulfills the desire in every possible way. Okay. And finally, Srila Narottam Das Thakur in his Pratna 39.4, he says that anyone who takes pleasure in sporting in the waves of ocean of Lord Chaitanya's distribution of love of God is at once a confidential devotee of Radha and Madhav. Whether he is a sannyasi or a householder, a devotee who calls out to the Lord and serves the Sankirtan movement is always liberated. Narottam Das aspires for his company. So this is given in Pratna. And finally, to conclude our class session on Raganuga Bhakti, understanding Raganuga Bhakti in ISKCON. So there are some Prabhupada disciples who have revealed to us how Prabhupada at the end of their lifetimes, when they were about to leave this body, Prabhupada personally came, revealed their identity, and then he took them back to the spiritual world. Or Prabhupada took them where they were required. Because as I said, acharyas never go back to world. So Prabhupada must be in some universe where he's preaching now. And all the disciples of Prabhupada, they feel that I would like to assist our spiritual master. So they also joined Srila Prabhupada in some other universe. But they have attained perfection. So that way it is said, how do we understand that the relation between Guru and disciple is eternal? This is one way to understand that a disciple always hankered to serve his Guru birth after birth. Janme Janme Prabhu say, Divya Gyan Vide Prakashito, right? And he is my master birth after birth. So this is the way we understand that Prabhupada, when he is going to some other universe, then the devotees, they also go to some other universe. At the same time, they are also present in the spiritual world because they have attained perfection. They are also, see, what is the meaning of going back to Godhead? It only means that you attain prema for the Lord, or you attain the final stages of Vastu Siddhi. Once you attain that, then if you are in the material world, still your mind, heart, everything is in the spiritual world, because the spiritual mind is manifested in your heart completely, right? So when we say that Vrindavan, Radharani associates, cows, the sakhas, all of them, everything is manifested completely. The entire spiritual manifold is manifested in your heart. You can see it because you have attained perfection. Okay. So this is how one must have only one desire to serve one's guru, and then automatically everything will be revealed. Of course, if you do not have a specific instruction, then you may also practice while meditating. Internally, you can develop your cultivation of meditation, and you can progress, and you can also seek your permission and blessing of guru. So that way you can also do. But if the guru has given you responsibility, you are meant to serve in a particular way, then you have to do that service, and it can also take entire lifetime. So you should not worry. If guru wants it, then he will make arrangement that everything is revealed to you at the right time. So with this, our entire session series on understanding Raganuga Bhakti is over. Raganuga Bhakti in ISKCON is over. And now if there are any questions or comments, then we can take it. Thank you so much, all the devotees. Hare Krishna. Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for this beautiful class. I mean, so many points to remember, and it's little, one has to go through it again, but very, very, I must say, a lot of learning in this class. Prabhuji, I wanted to ask you, in Vrindavan, the topmost place out of all the areas would be Gokul Dham in terms of, spending more time in meditation and everything.
So basically, see, the thing is that every devotee has their own favorite place, and there is nothing wrong in that, because one may feel connected to a particular place in a much significant way than in any other particular place. But overall, we know that from Madhurya perspective, the Madhurya Ras perspective, Radha Kund is the highest, is the topmost.
Wow.
Okay, because it's given by Srila Rupa Goswami in Nectar of Instruction that beyond Vaikuntha or above Vaikuntha is the abode of Mathura. Then beyond Mathura, above Mathura is the abode of Vrindavan, because Krishna performed his pastimes there. And above Vrindavan is Govardhan, because Krishna lifted Govardhan with his own hands. And then amongst Govardhan, the topmost place is Radhakund, because Radhakund is only specifically meant for Madhurya Ras devotees. No one else can enter Radhakund. So even there are clear Narma Sakhas of Krishna like Subal, Arjun, etc. So they also assist in the pastimes of Krishna with the gopis. So they also can enter Radhakund, but not inside Radhakund. They can only enter within the presence of Radhakund in a particular area, but they cannot go beyond that. So that's why it is said that Narad Muni, Sukdev Goswami, and Shiva, they are all hankering to, somehow get the opportunity to bathe in Radhakund. But even they are not able to get the chance of bathing in Radhakund. So we are so fortunate that by Prabhupada's mercy, we have got the information about Radhakund, and we get opportunity to also take to take bath in Radhakund. And so from Madhurya Ras perspective, this is the topmost place. But then, like for example, from the perspective of separation, Vipralamba Bhav, then in Vrindavan, there is a place which is called as Imlital, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was engrossed in separation. Krishna was engrossed in separation from Radharani, and then his entire body changed into golden complexion, and he became Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that place is famous for Vipralamba Bhav, and that is one of the highest place you can say that one can relish Vipralamba Bhav. Similarly,
What's the name? What's the name, Prabhuji, of that place?
Imlital.
Imlital. Uh-huh.
So there is a tamal tree under which Krishna sat, and he started remembering Radharani. He got very desperately, feeling the separation of Radharani, and his entire complexion changed into golden complexion, Radharani's complexion. So he became Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So it's a very powerful, potent place like that. So from different perspectives, one may say now, if you go to Kamya one, they will say that this is the topmost place. If you go to some other one amongst the 12 ones of Vrindavan, then they'll say that this is the topmost place. So everyone has their own relative understanding and appreciation of particular forest of Vrindavan. Although we can say that Radhakund is the highest, because only from the context and perspective of only those who have the mood of the gopis, they only can enter Radhakund, no one else. Whereas in other places you can enter anywhere. Like for example, Nandgaon Barsana, there is a mixture of Vatsalya, Dasya, Sakhya, all these rasas are there. But in Radhakund, there's only Madhuri ras. That's it.
Yes,
Like that.
Prabhuji. So there's another place over in Vrindavan where Lord Krishna actually, helped Radharani. He decorated her, and there's a.
Yeah,
I
that,
that's a separate. I think it's a huge,
that
very. Huh?
like for example, Raslila has taken place in multiple places in Braj. It is not only in Vamshivat in Vrindavan. It also takes place in Radhakund. It also takes place in the seven forests of Vrindavan, where Krishna is presiding deity. So the five forests on the uh, eastern side of Yamuna is presided by Balram. Okay, and you'll see mostly Vatsalya and Sakhya Bhav is prominent in those forests. Whereas in seven forests in the western side of Yamuna, you'll see Krishna as his pastimes, um, and those pastimes are with the gopis also. So you'll see that Vrindavan consists of Govardhan, then Nandgaon, Barsana, like that. And Krishna performs his pastimes there, and Madhurya Ras is there in most of these places in the seven forests of Braj. So like that um, we can actually understand. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji, so much. Now, I'm referring to, I don't remember the name, but this is across the street, another building where Lord Krishna had decorated Radharani. It's a very beautiful.
Okay. So Shringar what basically?
Uh,
See, there is the Shringar which is done in Nidhi and Seva Kunj, the Lord Krishna is personally serving Radharani. So but there's so many places where
yeah.
this pastime will happen. Like even if you go to Barsana, then we have the More Kutir, where Krishna is, in order to serve Radharani, to make her happy, he takes the form of a peacock and he starts dancing.
Yes.
Okay. And
Yeah.
then there's one mandir where you'll see that Radharani gets into Man, and then Krishna will start trying to please her. So at that point, Krishna also touches his head at the feet of Radharani. So that is called, in order to somehow pacify her. Okay. So that way, all these pastimes are performed in different places of Raj,
Yes.
like that.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for the wonderful class and the right perspective to understand Raganuga Bhakti. Prabhuji, you mentioned that the from the manuscript of Narottam Das Thakur that distributing books is very important even in that time, and he was waiting for the printing press. And now today we know like the digital media has come up, and even now we are in a digital platform taking advantage of virtually being able to meet. So can we think of the internet like YouTube, the Instagram, and all that as a new way of understanding bhakti? Because we could go to the wrong place also, but if we follow our acharyas videos, is that because nowadays nobody is really interested in books so much. They're just listening to the videos, And then there is the Narasimha movie that has come out. That was a big hit. It is now spreading information with audio, video, visuals. So is a new way of following Bhakti emerging in the modern world.
Yeah, I think that's fine, as long as the message is kept intact and it is bona fide. So that's why I think devotees should also come up with a lot of sharing of information, and they should try to make maximum use of such tools as Insta, Facebook, or social media. And because one thing, at least we know that those who are in parampara, they will spread the right information. They will educate them properly. All the non-devotees, they will get the right information from the right source. So of course, book has to be distributed, because even though in spite of so much, now there are so many people who would prefer to read from books. They may not like to watch videos, or they may not like to hear so much, because maybe they are habituated to reading right from the beginning. And of course, the thing is that ultimately one has to read shastras, scriptures. That's the final goal of all the education, all the knowledge, because you may share certain information, but then what is the source of that information? That's very important. So you will have to give references in your videos, right? But then how many references can you give in that video? Ultimately, you have to refer to the scripture, main scripture. For example, you are sharing something from the Bhagavatam or the Bhagavad Gita, then you will quote from there. And then of course the intention is that so that the people, they can actually start directly hearing and reading from the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam. So ultimately it goes to the scripture. And finally, I think it's an individual choice also. One may prefer to read from soft copies, or it may be hard copies. That is their own personal choice, because soft copies also has their own advantages. Like personally for me, soft copies works wonders, because I can carry it anywhere. All my books are in my phone and in my laptop, in my tab. And when I travel, I can read from it very conveniently without having to carry the load and weight of the books, because I read multiple books simultaneously. So it is not possible for me to carry all these books. They are very heavy also in weight. And I've got some cervical spondylosis issue also. So for me, it is very extremely convenient. And the greatest advantage of reading online on the soft copies in the form of Kindle or Word file is that you can always, whatever you have read, you can copy and you can paste, you can share with yourself, you can share with others also. So that's the best thing. And that's why I have also created this group, Acharya Shiksha, in WhatsApp, where I'm sending regularly whatever I'm reading, Prabhupada Leelas, Acharya Shiksha's teachings, Prabhupada teachings, or whatever interesting I've read, I share it immediately. And there are many devotees now, I think 160 devotees are there in the group. Yeah, so I'm not sure if you are aware of this group, but if devotees, they would like, so what I'm doing is whatever I'm reading, I'm sending the most important and the essential teachings of the acharyas. So you don't even have to actually go through everything. So of course, apart from Srila Prabhupada books, if you don't have time, then this is a very good platform. So like this, we can share. Online platform is certainly very, it can be a great boon, but it has to be channelized properly. Otherwise, one can take, one can misuse that, and we can also mix certain things. Like, it may not be pure in the pure form. So we have to be very careful, and we have to. So that's why devotees have a great responsibility to preach online using social media platform as much as possible, so everyone can get the right, correct message.
Thank you very
But
much, Prabhuji. Please share.
ultimately, they will come to the books. Those who are serious, they will come to the books, because the entire motive is that they finally hear directly, they hear it directly from the Shastra. So that will also serve the purpose.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Please share with Shyam Rasika Mataji the invite for your WhatsApp group.
Yeah, sure. Yes, I've already shared with her. I think she had shared in the group also. Maybe it was overlooked or you missed out.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, sure. Okay. So any other devotees have any question or comment? I have a question. Was this class recorded? I forgot to record it.
Yeah. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, yes, it is recorded.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Yeah, I can send you the link.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, thank you so much for this nectarian class. Information about Raganuga Bhakti. And now it was a last part, so it was little we are sad, like we are not going to hear more about this. So
Okay. Yeah. If there is something which is more to be added later on, if I realize, then maybe we'll have another session on this. But I think whatever I've shared, that is sufficient. Unless there is something to be real.
You can hear it again and again. Yeah, we have recordings.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Yeah, and my apologies for not sharing about Damodar Leela and Damodar Ashtakam, because I felt let's finish this, because it's if we cover this after long time, then we don't remember also, and we are not able to link also to the previous sessions. So let me finish this. And anyways, I think most of the devotees who are giving classes, they may be speaking about Damodar Leela also. Right?
Yes, Prabhuji. Every day we are doing something about Kartik month, Damodar Leela, and
This is something different.
So yeah, because every speaker is the topic is same, but their perspective and the explanation is different. So
Yeah, that's right. So there are unlimited, insights on Damodar Leela. You can say like that, because devotees are unlimited, and the acharyas, they have given so many commentaries, and then devotees, they have their own personal realization. So that way, like, we can keep hearing for eternity all these pastimes, same pastimes again and again. Like, all right.
So, Prabhuji, I had a quick question regarding Shamkund. It is not a regular rectangle, because is it because of Lord Krishna's pose, the way he is?
Yeah, one of the internal reasons you can say, because Krishna is crooked, so Shamkund has to be crooked also. That's why it is not perfectly square. Radharani is so innocent, and that's why everything is perfect. So Radhakund is also only square shape. But anyways, the reason is that what was happening that time, what happened is the Pandavas, so they
My friend, how are you?
residing in the form of trees, because they also wanted
I'm just waiting for you.
worship the Radhakund. So they were residing in the form of five
Yeah.
trees. And
Once again, Prabhuji, maybe we can mute. Yeah, thank you.
okay. So they wanted to worship Radhakund, so they were residing in the form of trees, because they could not have access directly in their original forms. So when Raghunath Das Goswami was excavating Radhakund, he was making everything very nice, tidy, clean, and everything. So that time he was about to cut the trees. So because he wanted to expand Radha and Shamkund. So when he thought about cutting the trees, the next day morning he got a dream from of the Pandavas. They requested him not to cut them down, because they are residing in the form of these trees. So that's why, in order to resolve that, he did not touch the trees, and that's why you will see the kunda is actually not exactly square shape. It is turning around, and it is reserving the trees in the same location. Although the trees, they are not visible any longer, but the place where the trees were there, that is still there, and it is right behind Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami's Bhajan Kutir, where he used to hear from Raghunath Das Goswami, the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So just right behind that, and the place is called as where Radharani, after taking bath, she used to come and she used to dry her clothes. So the name of the place I forgot. That's it. There is a pillow tree, and that place name I forgot. But anyways, it's still there. The trees are not visible, but the Pandavas are still coming in a invisible manner, like that.
Prabhuji, the Pandavas are coming there now?
Yeah, I mean, as sadhakas, they want to worship. That's it. Like the way we go and we want to worship, but of course they are not allowed. no only gopis are allowed there. But as sadhakas, they would like to worship like that.
Yeah.
And
But
then
uh-huh.
see Arjun has another form also. He's Arjunia Gopi. So he's a gopi in the spiritual world, and that pastime is also there in Kusum Sarovar, where Arjun became Arjunia Gopi, and Narad Muni became Naradiya Gopi, like that. So this thing is also there. So there are many things which are there in the Puranas, and our Acharya also they share this information. Yeah.
Yeah, but the original Sham Kund was not irregular. Later it became, right?
Yeah. So it was not regular. Because see, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had discovered Radhakund Shamkund, so it was a very small pond. So there's no question of making it a rectangular shape or a square shape, because Raghunath Das Goswami, he expanded the kundas. It was a very small pond. Okay.
Yeah.
So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took bath in that, he realized this is not different from Radhakund Shamkund. Then he gave responsibility to Raghunath Das Goswami. He expanded that, and that's how he made that square shape, and he enlarged the kundas like that.
Right. So do you I know a lot of people just take some water and they sprinkle. Very few go inside that water. It's not very clean, right, Prabhuji?
Well, devotees who have that, thirst to take bath in Radhakund, so they will not see whether it is clean or unclean. They will just go and take bath. In fact, in my experience, Radhakund I find it to be much more cleaner than so many other kunds or lakes that we have in Braj. It
Wow.
is very clean. I mean, comparatively, definitely. I mean, I have never seen any kind of, because they maintain it also. The Radhakund Vasis who are staying there, they regularly maintain. I think once in a year, they clean it also, or maybe once in 2 years or like that. So what they do is they remove the entire water from Radha and Shamkund, and they go deep inside the kundas, and they go all the way to Kangan Kund, and then they start cleaning both kundas, and then they again fill up that with water, with the original Radhakund Shamkund waters, like that. So the picture also you must have seen. You can Google it also. Okay, you can Google it. Cleaning of Radhakund and Shamkund.
But
Maybe
it is standing water, right? It is not flowing.
it is standing, yeah, because it's contained in the kundas, right?
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. All right. So if there are no further questions, then we can stop here. Thank you all the devotees for your time and
Hare Krishna
giving
Prabhuji,
opportunity
Dhanut
for
Pranam,
you.
Krishna Prabhupada Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for the wonderful association of yours during the month of Kartik, and wonderful class. I don't have a question, but just want to appreciate that you started our day with like such nice katha through the form of your this thing, and also your posts are very nice. I read in my free time. They always keep coming, the Acharya post, Acharya, right?
Acharya Siksha.
Shiksha, yeah. So there are so many others, but I also follow that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for
Yeah.
the opportunity, and of course, all credit goes to our Guru Jan, our
Yeah.
Parampara Acharyas. Because of their mercy only, we have got this knowledge and treasure.
Yes, Prabhuji, and so mercifully you're sharing with us. And also, if anybody has last minute question, comments, otherwise we can end the call with our prayers. Anybody else? Last minute question, comments? Thank you so much, Prabhuji, and we look forward for association next month. So Vancha Kalpataru,
I look forward to everyone's association.
join in with the prayers. Vancha Kalpataru Bhasya Kripa Sindhu Eva Patitanam Bhava Vibhyu Namo Namah Koti Vaishnav Ki Jai.
Jai. Jai.
Jai.
Jai.
Jai.
Jai.
Mataji, you can just share the link with me. The YouTube link.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hari bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari bol.
Hari Bol. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Bol Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Happy Ekadashi.